I used to stick to just a few games, mostly ones decades old or niche indie games, so I had gone quite literally over a decade without playing really any AAA games. When I recently started playing AAA games again, I blew through the best ones quickly. I then had to really dig deep to find games that I would enjoy, and while I found more misses than hits, I did actually find some diamonds in the rough. And since almost everyone has been stuck indoors and has played every game over the past year, we all probably need some new games to play. Now, given the explosion in popularity gaming has seen over the past years, it's basically impossible to make a list of PS4 and 5 games that are both incredible and that no one has ever heard of. What I have here are games that might have been overlooked and in some cases had very rough launches, only to turn around things years later and become good games. Others will be older games that perhaps newer gamers missed out on or were mid-tier games that didn't have the marketing budgets AAA games have and were overlooked. Not every game will be for everyone, although I do feel like if you see something from a genre you typically enjoy, then this will be something different you can try out and maybe have some fun with. This list is in no particular order, so with that said, let's get into it. Number 1, The Crew 2. I picked this one up almost 2 years after it was released, so I had the good fortune of playing it after it had seen multiple content updates. From what I've seen, a lot of people might have enjoyed the gameplay mechanics, but The Crew 2 simply did not have enough content at launch. I can safely say they've added in a ton of content and then some, and to top it off, the game is still seeing updates with even more new content being added in. The driving mechanics are well polished and fall somewhere in the middle of arcade and sim. This actually works out because it's still accessible to newer fans of racing games, but it's not so simple that racing sim fans will find it too easy. You get to race everything from cars to boats to planes to dirt bikes, monster trucks, and hell, it even has demolition derby. Having such a wide variety of things to do keeps the game constantly fresh, and it has a great sense of progression as it's basically a car RPG, a match made in heaven for me. I had so much fun with this one after platinuming it, I still play it to compete in the weekly events. I can recommend this for anyone who's a fan of the Forza Horizon and Need for Speed games, or anyone looking for something different, even if you're not typically into racing games. This actually rekindled my love of racing games, and I haven't been able to stop playing them since. I might even be doing a full video on The Crew 2 in the future as well, because I do think the game deserves its own video since it's seen so many updates over the years. Number 2, Atelier Rizza, Ever Darkness and the Secret Hideout. This game caught me by surprise and it wouldn't let go until I platinumed it and its sequel. It's an incredibly charming slice-of-life JRPG filled with unique and interesting characters and gorgeous areas to explore. It also boasts one of the most in-depth crafting systems I've seen in an RPG, and the combat system has a unique twist on turn-based combat. As you run around the semi-open world, you will always be gathering materials to craft weapons, armor, and everything else you can think of at your secret hideout's atelier. Seeing characters' relationships grow and getting to know the villagers throughout the story kept me hooked, and it's basically impossible to dislike Rizza as a character. If you want to see my full thoughts in the game, I will link my review for it down below, but anyone who enjoys RPGs, crafting, or character-driven narratives will have a blast with this one. Number 3, Life is Strange, Before the Storm. You've probably already heard of, if not played Life is Strange, but I seem to never see people talk about the prequel Before the Storm. I'm not typically into quote-unquote walking simulators, but I found myself really enjoying the story of how Rachel and Chloe met. I did actually play this before Life is Strange, although it's meant to be played after it, so it doesn't matter what order you play the games in. I did initially play it for the Platinum Trophy, but stayed for the interesting character development and narrative. I do think the third episode was a little weaker than the first two, but overall a great experience. If you enjoy the Telltale games or just want a nice relaxing game to play, I would recommend trying this one out. Number 4, Boulders Gate 1 and 2. Chances are if you're my age, you're saying, of course Boulders Gate 1 and 2 are incredible games. Hell, they're considered to be some of the best RPGs ever made. I put it on this list because I feel like the PS4 release, which includes both games, flew under the radar, and also for younger gamers who did not grow up playing these games. If you haven't played or heard of them, they are set in the Forgotten Realms from Dungeons & Dragons fame, and if you've ever read and enjoyed the Drizzt books, these games will be heaven for you. The console versions are the enhanced editions of the games, which updates the UI and combat a bit for the modern era. These games are over 2 decades old, so it might feel a little dated for some people, but if you can get past that, you'll discover an incredibly in-depth RPG filled with legendary characters and many intriguing storylines. I could recommend these games for, well, everyone, because as I mentioned, they are among the best RPGs ever made. Number 5, Warriors Orochi 4 Ultimate. The Warriors games get a bad rap. All of my life I've heard that they are nothing but mindless button mashers, and that prevented me from playing them for many years. Then one day I decided to play Fire Emblem Warriors, and now I've played over 10 different Warriors games over the past 2 years. While there are some valid criticisms of the genre, I do think a lot of people will enjoy these games if they just gave them a shot. Yes, at times you'll be hitting the same combos frequently, but what game do you not do that in? There's a strategy element to the games as well that I found really engaging, and if you play on harder difficulties and go for the extra objectives, the games can get quite challenging. Warriors Orochi 4 is a crossover of Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors and allows you to play as almost too many different characters, all with their own unique movesets. The premise of the Warriors games is 1 vs 1,000 as you go toe-to-toe against gigantic armies and enemies' captains while pulling off ridiculous combos along the way. While the story can be a bit weak at times, the combat is possibly the best out of any Warriors game, and there is an absolutely ridiculous amount of content in the Ultimate Edition. There's also a surprising amount of RPG mechanics as well, along with co-op and online play. Action RPG and fighting game fans should enjoy this one. Number 6, Middle-earth Shadow of War.
I have given up everything.
Not everything.
My lord, we have located you.
Now I know this game got a ton of hate when it launched, and rightfully so. WB forcing loot boxes into the game was disgusting, and I'm not here to say that we should forget about that. That being said, now that they've been removed and the game has been rebalanced, there's actually a lot of fun to be had. You continue as Talion from the first game, who is bound to the spirit of Celebrimbor, and by working together forge a new ring of power to help them build up an army to fight against Sauron. Shadow of War employs the Nemesis system, which was a really unique gameplay mechanic as dominating orcs can provide an endless amount of content. And finding the best possible orcs to build up your army as you assault and defend your castles is pure fun. While the story is a bit weak, the Batman Arkham style combat is tight and can provide a great challenge at times. While I think this game will appeal to a wide audience, those who enjoy action RPGs and big open world adventure games will especially connect with this one. Number 7, Greedfall.
We didn't want this fight.
Tell me then, what is your intended purpose?
Do you renounce your gods?
The spirits of your lands must be quite horrendous to cast down such evils upon the peoples that live there.
Greedfall is a mid-tier game that was created by a very small studio on a very tight budget. It also happens to put a lot of AAA games with gigantic budgets to absolute shame. I seriously can't believe this game was crafted by such a small studio, as they must have spent every dollar wisely. This is a big action RPG filled with adventure and intrigue. You travel to a newly discovered island to both find a cure to an illness that is plaguing your homeland, and to also help colonize this new land. Anyone who grew up loving Western RPGs will enjoy the big skill tree and attribute system that will allow them to build a character around their playstyle. There are dialogue options so you can choose to assault enemies head on, or even use your diplomacy to find a peaceful solution. While the combat has its own unique feel, I would say it does have a slight Dark Souls vibe to it, as you have to learn the attack patterns of bosses and dodge roll at the correct time. However, there are also elements of stealth, and you will have up to 2 companions with you on your journey. They also just released a gold edition which has enhanced features for the PS5, along with including the new Devespi Conspiracy expansion. I can recommend this one to anyone who likes RPGs from Bethesda or older BioWare games. Number 8, Judgment.
Who are you? The name's Yagami.
Clear your schedule.
The Yakuza games have exploded in popularity over the past year, and for good reason. Judgment is a spin-off of the Yakuza games and features everything that we've grown to love about those games. You play as a private detective in this beat-em-up action brawler living in Kamurocho who is desperately trying to find out who has been committing a string of murders. While Judgment's combat is very similar to the Yakuza series, it also has several new moves you can pull off, like wall running, which leads to some devastating combos. This game also allows you to stealthily trail suspects, find clues at crime scenes, and fly a drone to get to hidden areas. Not to mention tons of minigames from the Yakuza series make an appearance as well. If you've already played through the Yakuza series and want more, this one is for you. However, this is a standalone game, so even people who have never played a Yakuza game can enjoy this one. And now is the best time to play it, as it has a sequel coming out later this year. Number 9, The Legend of Heroes: Trails of Cold Steel.
Great towers!
You're in the shoe! Crystal Saber!
If you are a JRPG fan and you haven't played the Trails of Cold Steel series, you are in for an incredible surprise. And don't let its humble origins on the PlayStation Vita fool you, this is a complete JRPG experience with a full voice cast. While it features turn-based combat, there are extra gameplay mechanics that make it unique, like the link system, which allows you to link together party members in order to pull off extra attacks and combos. You play as Reen Swartzer, a student who is attending the prestigious Thor's Military Academy. While attending classes, you can visit various buildings on the campus and choose which classmates to spend time with in order to deepen your bonds with them. You will also get monthly assignments that have you venture out into the world, embarking on quests, and figuring out a mystery that develops along the way. While it does set itself apart from the Persona games, anyone who enjoys that series will feel right at home here. This one has a ton of story content and features a lot of typical tropes we see in JRPGs and anime. So if you're a fan of either of those, you need to check out The Legend of Heroes: Trails of Cold Steel. Number 10, Godfall.
He would destroy us. We just didn't know it yet. We were warriors, but he turned us against each other. Brother against brother.
Self-described looter slasher, however, I think would be better described as an action RPG with an addicting, unique blend of combat mechanics. You play as the last of the Valorant Knights, and it is your job to stop your mad brother from destroying the world. I just reviewed this game and I would recommend watching that before buying it, however, the people who like this game seem to love it. While I do think the story has some interesting elements, it is a game with very little story, so people who just want to get into the action might find themselves really enjoying this game. It features somewhat similar level design to Destiny, combat in the same vein as God of War 2018, and almost as much loot as the Borderlands games. It is currently only available for PlayStation 5, but it will be coming out on PlayStation 4 in August, along with a free update for all players and a paid DLC expansion. From what I've seen so far, the upcoming content looks great, and while the game saw a mixed reception at launch, it seems like it has a lot of people interested, so if that upcoming content proves to be good, then I think we could see Godfall become a lot more popular going forward. Anyone who enjoys intense action combat along with RPG elements might find themselves liking this one. But again, I would watch my review first, as it won't be for everyone. So there we have it, 10 hidden gems for the PlayStation 4 and 5. I actually had a few more games, but needed to cut it off at 10. So if you know of any more hidden gem games, let me know down in the comments and I can check them out and possibly do another video. Also, if you have played any of the games on this list and enjoyed them, let me know down in the comments below as well. I'm currently working on my Scarlet Nexus Platinum review. I'm just about done with my second playthrough, so that review will be coming out next week. After that, I will be doing my Mass Effect 3 Platinum review along with a few other videos. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, I'll see you all in the next video.